Hello, it's April 23rd, 2025, and April 23rd is considered Shakespeare's birthday. We sort of consider April 23rd to be Shakespeare's birthday, even though historically nobody can confirm that he was born on April 23rd. We know that he died on April 23rd, and it makes a great story to say he died on his birthday, but we have his baptism records, but no, there's no birth certificate for Shakespeare. But whatever the case, we celebrate Shakespeare's birthday on April 23rd, and because he's one of the people on my personal creative Mount Rushmore, I wanted to post this old video that I shot. I will look considerably younger because this video was shot nearly a decade ago on another YouTube channel that I was running at the time. At the time, I had read a book called Shakespeare the Player, and it is a book about Shakespeare as an actor, which is often overlooked because, he was such a formidable writer as how we remember him in history. But during his lifetime in London, he was apparently known just as much as an actor as he was as a playwright, and of course, a shareholder in his own theater company. So, in celebration of Shakespeare in April 23rd, I just wanted to repost this old video about Shakespeare the player, Shakespeare the actor, and I appreciate you coming back to watch. When I say William Shakespeare, you probably think playwright. But what if I said William Shakespeare, actor? I'm recording this video in April 2016. This is the 400th year anniversary of William Shakespeare's death. He died in April 1616. And in celebration of the great William Shakespeare, who has not only had a huge inspiration on me personally as a playwright and a person of the theater, but to theater history in general, he's still considered one of the greatest playwrights in the English language, if not the greatest playwright in the English language. I want to explore what I think is a little-known book about William Shakespeare. Here's the thing about books on Shakespeare. There's a whole cottage industry of books on Shakespeare's life, especially because it's kind of shrouded in mystery. On his plays, there's analysis and examinations of all of his works. And there's books on Elizabethan England and how Shakespeare became a figurehead for that whole time period. The book that I want to bring to your attention is called Shakespeare the Player by John Southworth. The writer of this book is named John Southworth, and he is primarily an actor and a director, and he's familiar with all of William Shakespeare's plays, and he is an amateur historian, so he comes from the point of view of a man of the theater when he discusses William Shakespeare. And his hypothesis is that William Shakespeare, during his lifetime, was better known as an actor in the Lord Chamberlain's Men and the King's Men than he ever was as a playwright in his own life. It is only through the hindsight of history that we think of William Shakespeare primarily and almost exclusively as a playwright, one of the greatest playwrights in the English language. But he comes at the point of view that Shakespeare is an actor, so we'll go with that. The first thing that John Southworth proposes is that William Shakespeare did not have any lost years. If you're familiar with William Shakespeare's life, there's this point in his life when he kind of drops off the historical map. It is hypothesized that this is the point that William Shakespeare learned about his vocation, his time in the theater. John Southworth agrees with this, but then backs it up with circumstantial evidence. He says that William Shakespeare fell in with a group called the Worcestershire Men. They were a traveling group that toured the provinces, and they were actually pretty well known at the time. During Elizabethan England times, they were the third company to be given a license to perform in London later on, after the Lord Chamberlain's Men, the Admiral's Men, and then the Worcestershire Men. Also in this group of the Worcestershire Men the guy that was kind of sponsoring the group was the Earl of Warwickshire.
Yeah.
Was a young actor named Ned Allen, Edward Ned Allen. Ned Allen became, over his career, one of the best-known actors of the time period, rivaled only by Richard Burbage, who later worked with William Shakespeare as well. Ned Allen was a little bit younger than William Shakespeare, but more experienced in the theater, and Southworth hypothesizes that William Shakespeare joined up with the Worcester's men and did a proper apprenticeship for 7 years and learned to act and watched Ned Allen, and the plays that they did were a lot of Christopher Marlowe's early plays, which had a big influence on William Shakespeare as a young writer and especially as an actor. And Ned Allen, in fact, was very famous for playing Tamburlaine, as well as a host of other really well-known roles at the time, other roles, of course, by Christopher Marlowe. So, fact number one, or point number one, there's no such thing as lost years for William Shakespeare. Those are his apprenticeship years, and he apprenticed with the Warwickshire's men and traveled around England outside of London until he eventually ended up in London in around the mid-1580s. Fact number two, William Shakespeare was considered by his contemporaries mostly an actor during his lifetime, and that he became a shareholder in the Lord Chamberlain's Men. He also did the duties of a director as well. And Southworth kind of proposes that William Shakespeare kind of rolled all of his positions together. Instead of delineating, I am a playwright, I am an actor, I am a producer, I am a director, even though there was no word for directing at the time. He says, no, he just thought of himself as a worker in the theater, and all of those things kind of went hand in hand. But he definitely considered himself a colleague, William Shakespeare did, of his fellow actors, and he wrote parts in his own plays for his fellow actors. So that's point number two. Point number three, Shakespeare never retired. Southworth, the author of this book, proposes that he never stopped performing. He performed all the way up, right up to the months before his death. Even though he stopped writing plays, in the early 16 teens, he didn't keep writing up until the end. And in fact, at the end, he kind of passed the torch to younger writers. And the younger writers, like John Fletcher and stuff, took over. And Shakespeare helped on those plays. But he stopped just the grind of producing so many plays himself and kind of eased back. And Southworth proposes that he eased back and became more and more an actor in the company. And the most important thing about the book is that John Southworth goes through Shakespeare's plays and hypothesizes what specific parts Shakespeare played in those plays. And Shakespeare took on very interesting characters in his own plays in particular. Everybody knows that William Shakespeare played Hamlet Sr., the ghost of Hamlet, of Hamlet's dad in the play Hamlet. But Southworth proposes that he also played other roles, like Iago, like Duke Theseus, Duke of Athens, Theseus in Midsummer Night's Dream. And later, at the end of his career in Two Noble Kinsmen, he returned to play the role of Theseus, Duke of Athens, once again. He played the friar in Romeo and Juliet. He played Cardinal Wolsey in Henry VIII. What all of these kind of roles share, what they have in common, is that the character has sort of a status, a higher status of the other characters in the play. So if you're a duke, you kind of stand out, or if you're Hamlet Senior, you kind of stand out, or they pull focus. So like Iago comes off to the other characters like a regular guy, but to the audience, he's the one pulling the strings. Hopefully that doesn't spoil the play for you. For Othello. These parts are also detached from the main action of the play. So William Shakespeare would come on, play the part, and then be able to step back for the bulk of the action of the play so that he could supervise the other actors working. in the production. The characters were visible on stage a lot of the time, but they didn't have a whole bunch of lines to have to memorize. And most importantly, they kind of had, besides kind of a high status, they were authoritarian. They were in control, kind of the other characters in the play. So he could direct from within the play as well as from without the play, observing it during rehearsals. And I find this very, very fascinating. I recommend the book. It's called Shakespeare the Player. It's by John Southworth. And it comes at Shakespeare from a whole other vantage point as Shakespeare the actor, who also happened to write some really good plays, rather than Shakespeare the playwright, greatest playwright in history. So anyway, hopefully you celebrate Shakespeare's birthday and death day. He was born and died in April. Anyway, April 1616 is when he died, so this is the 400th anniversary of his death. And so this April, please go watch a Shakespeare play, go to the theater, read a Shakespeare play, go rent Shakespeare in Love, I don't know, something good to celebrate William Shakespeare. That's it. Thanks for watching. Hey, present day Brad, once again, just to do the outro. Thanks for watching. I just wanted to say I appreciate you being here. I'm slowly, so slowly growing this YouTube channel. And here for the first parts of it, I'm still pulling old videos from the past that have to do with playwriting and theater and solo performance and things of that sort, and kind of intermixing them together. I just want to come back at the end here to say, if you would like a free resource that I made called 7 Pitfalls of Playwriting and How to Avoid Them, that's free, free to you. Just sign up there at the link below and I'll send it to you. Just a short PDF ebook that I put together, especially if you're new to playwriting or just need some refreshers. It's a pretty handy little book, and it's my gift to you. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.